Yep, so spinning the drive shaft spins the rear wheels and not the front wheels. With a simple press of a button. Watch how hard it gets.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's what I say, it needs some torque. Yes. Yes. That's how simple it is. Hey, you know, let's go real time. Turn that back off.
Oh wow.
Yeah. As it lets go of pressure. We're back in rear wheel drive. This is just nuts. As you know, SimpliSafe has been a huge supporter of the 4-Order project, as well as keeping both myself and the things I love dearly safe. While I'm traveling, I can check up on both my house and my shop. I once got a call from one of my neighbors that my front door was wide open. It just opened by itself. And that was because one of my brothers didn't lock it and the wind blew it open. For how long, I don't know, my front door to my castle was wide open, inviting anybody who wanted to come into my free Airbnb. That's where the smart lock from SimpliSafe makes my life 10 times less stressful. This system lets you lock and unlock the door remotely. It's set up to auto lock after it's unlocked. Therefore, you don't leave the door wide open. So easy to use. This side is the inside, lock and unlock, just like you always would. On the outside is a nice little keypad. Punch in your code, and it unlocks the door automatically. You can either lock it back up with this, or if you forget, as my brothers would have, it locks itself. That peace of mind and comprehensive coverage that SimpliSafe offers is why I am proud to be partnered with them. If you're interested in learning more about the SimpliSafe system, please go to simplisafe.com/RobDahm. I'm gonna start cleaning this up big time. I'm gonna disassemble it and see how it comes out. Best part about being a hydraulic fluid pump is that fluid definitely keeps it lubricated. Best part about this being a hydraulic pump is that the fluid inside of it definitely keeps it lubricated. Inside looks amazing. I've torn this completely apart, and I will tell you what, this is very surprising to me. It is way simpler than I thought it was. It really is just a pump that can run power, a nitrogen canister, which is like a pulsation dampener almost, like a surge protector, and then a control unit that allows it to go in and out. Between pumping it and controlling where it goes, little pressure sensor, that's all there really is to it. And that's what I hoped. I hoped it was really simple. As far as I'm concerned, powering this, directing it to that center diff, there we got 50-50, we're done. Or turn it all off and then we have just rear wheel. It's once we get into all the wheel speed sensors and all that sort of stuff that this would get crazy. I'm right back on the fittings and hoses game, but this is all for the all-wheel drive system. I'm gonna use this like little power steering pump as a reservoir for the system, and it can use power steering fluid, so that works out perfectly. Got 10 AN on the bottom to feed the pump, and this is kind of like a return relief valve, I guess you'd say, on the side. I'm gonna end up modifying the cap on top of the pump with a 10 AN feed line instead of just a push fitting sort of thing, so that way we don't have fluid, very slippery fluid, falling onto the tires. All the things that were banjo bolts are now gonna be 6 AN, nice and clean. I've made a mess, but at the same time, while making a mess, I also was able to get things accomplished. And this blows my mind. This is absolutely fascinating. This is the backside of the all-wheel drive system, and it's just a slave cylinder. Pressurize it, and this. In theory, we could just put this to like a fourth clutch. And as soon as you push it in, you have all-wheel drive, or like a locking clutch, like push it in and lock it. That's the whole point of this system here. And I got it wired up, and it works. We haven't tested it yet, but while Isaiah was welding all of that, I was welding this. You know, Isaiah's stuff's cool and all, but this is where it's at. The very right side was my first weld. The top one was my second one. And so you see me getting into a groove. I'm pretty sure, exactly, I'm pretty sure that is galvanized.
How do you like the smell of it?
I don't remember. I blacked out, woke up in a ditch an hour later. I made a mess down here because pulling the all-wheel drive system leaked everywhere and I didn't realize it would do that. Right now I'm going to work on bracketry to fit the ATTESA system in low and tight to the back of the car. This is a super monumental moment for me. I'm all alone. I'm just vibing out by myself with the car, and I have tack welded the first thing to this chassis. It's the first thing I designed and built and fabricated and tacked into the car. As you know, I'm working on the ATTESA system. It's honestly a difficult system. The concept is super simple. It really is just like you pressing the clutch in reverse, like I said before. Problem is, there's a whole system for controlling that, automating it, and whatnot. The other problem I have is that it's not meant for RX-7. It's not meant for this chassis. It's just a very awkward shaped thing. It looks like a bomb. It looks like a C4 bomb. Well, aside from all the tubing, it's actually pretty straight. Oh, you really can't see it from this angle. That's disappointing. Okay, so ignore the insane amount of chromoly tubing. That's the back, as you know, of a Nissan GTR transfer case, and that line right there with my blurry finger goes to ATTESA system. That system provides up to 260, 280 psi, and all it is a slave cylinder in there pushing the clutch. Up here, you see two lines going up for sucking in extra fluid and kicking out the extra that's not being used. And I've got this little, bought it for like 90 bucks, a little catch can sort of thing, but it's actually got a baffle inside of it for the return line, power steering setup. I'm trying to keep the fittings, if you know why I looped it over that way, is to keep the fittings away from that party boy over there. It's really nice and clean at the moment, but it's just a test. I do have that mounted to the existing body, the Montego Blue body, which will go away, so that changes. This is an awesome spot for the moment, but that little pump's loud. I'm going to fire it up, but I'm going to have to put fluid in and all that. We're going to need a light for sure. This is just extremely dark. It's really neat is that welder lets you run off of 110. So I've had to go this way to get to this damn thing. Got to work on my entry, my approach. We're going to pull back 3 of these lines. Signal line. This is what's supposed to tell the pump to stop. We're going to find out together if it really does. It's called trans brake on the wire. I figured that's kind of funny. I'm going to call the ATTESA system the trans brake. So the last one I just put in, that one actually controls that. And you can actually diddle that, and it'll either send pressure this way or send pressure that way, and in any percentage really. 100% would pressurize this and put it into all-wheel drive. 0% it should just empty back out into the container. There we go. I have it where you don't even need ignition for testing reasons. Okay, that's exciting. Loud but exciting. I'm hoping when there's fluid in there that changes. There's a bleeder valve underneath this, and then there's a bleeder valve over there. Both of those need to be bled. I'm just saying we just start filling it with fluid and see where this goes. We use power steering fluid. We might have to play with viscosity. We might have to play with a variety of things. I just don't know. So we have to fill up not just this, also the whole system all the way down. Oh, wait. Forgot, I only have all the, ouch. I only have all the lines hand tightened. That would have been a funny. The only downside of what's going on right now is we are all over the place because we have to be, and it's frazzling my brain completely. I'm just like, oh, this, but wait, this. I saved you guys from watching me make all of the hoses and all that. It's exciting, to be honest. It's not my first rodeo. It's my second one. Oh, by the way, there's my little tacked in thing. I'm kind of proud of that. It's not perfect, but this version is a test. The high pressure line is this one right here. That's where it can make or break us. So I'm gonna go ahead and top it off, even though that's not the point of this. It's actually supposed to be closer to half, but I know that the system's gonna suck it down. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's pretty topped off. As I say, I was gonna leave it open, but the air coming out of that line is just gonna shoot underneath all of this. Let's see what we hear. Oh, you can see it's bleeding. That's a good sign. That's part of what I've wired up, is that it should shut off if 260 psi is met. And it is wired in right now because it has to be, because I don't want this thing overpressurizing and blowing up. That means if that bleeder valve is working, there's fluid all the way to the top of this. Let's see what happens. Oh, I heard it. It's making like stomach noises. We'll stop there. Let's take a look at the tank. Wow. Okay, that's a sign. You guys saw that? That line's getting pressure. Oh my god! Oh my god! That's sick! I'll turn it off again. So that actually should depressurize it. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. So it's pressurized. I think we just got all-wheel drive. Oh, that lines up really tight. Oh, shit. That's got 200 and some odd PSI in it. This is the R32 series, so it does have the half-second delay because it's coming from no pressure in this line to 100% pressure, which is as fast as a pump can go. If we wanted to get crazy with the all-wheel drive system, we just let that engage and disengage and preload and all that other sort of shit. Right now, we're in all-wheel drive because it's locked. It pushed pressure in. That means the clutch is pushed in. I think we just got all-wheel drive that easily. And you know, the other thing is that if we bleed this side now, I should be able to get that even quicker because it's got to compress the air and the fluid in there. Because what's cool is if you turn it off, did you hear it? That actuator, that solenoid back there, lets go. So I think we can get that time down. We now have an all-wheel drive RX-7 that quickly. And oh, we now have a rear-wheel drive. The yellow line right there, that's 12 volts going to it. That yellow line, if you were to pulse with management PWM, right now it's 100% pulsed on. If you go to like 50%, well, that means it's gonna cause this to only have 50% pressure, which means less than half of the torque. We can just cut that yellow line and add a little controller, have sensors go to it, and then it just chooses how much and little that system gets. You can hear it work initially, and then now we're good. It's done. We're in all-wheel drive. It's not making tons of noise all the time. This little thing's really awesome. If I haven't showed you this yet, go ahead and turn ignition on. And it goes, that's the water pump. And so the water pump goes between low mode and slow, low, slow. It pulses just slowly until the coolant warms up. This thing can suck down 40 amps. Right now it's sucking down like 2. It just slowly moves there until the car's running solid and you start seeing heat. And then it'll start pulling up on the water pump and then turn on the fans as needed. And it's wired to the battery. When you turn the car off, it'll continue running and run the fans and it to keep the engine from dying. Just simplifying. I am so fucking, you guys don't know how excited I am. We just went from all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive that quick. Yeah, so spinning the drive shaft spins the rear wheels and not the front wheels. With a simple press of a button. Watch how hard it gets.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's what I say, it needs some torque. Yes. That's how simple it is. You know, let's go real time. Turn that back off.
Oh wow.
Yeah. As it lets go of pressure, we're back in rear wheel drive. This is just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Now, not only that, check this out. Turn on the ignition. See our screen. I'm gonna jump in here for this. Didn't mean to be that violent. Oh, we're in 0 gear. What about first gear? Oops, transmission. Oh, we have to spin it just a little bit. There. Second gear. Third gear. Fourth gear. Oh, you know what? Let's back it up a little bit. Yeah. All 4 EGTs are working, so it's, at least they're registering 68 or so. This is amazing. So it's all messy right here, but we finally can start firing this car back up because everything is connected.